When your dog goes quiet for no reason, do you know what they are actually trying to tell you? You probably think it means they're just tired or bored or being a little moody, but the truth is far more extraordinary than that. Because silence in a dog is rarely empty. It is often the loudest thing they know how to say. Most owners have no idea this is happening, which means they are missing something profound every single day. Something their dog has been trying to hand them quietly for years in a language built entirely out of stillness. Once you learn to see it, you will never look at your dog the same way again, because you will start noticing what has been sitting quietly in front of you the whole time. Stay until the end. Because sign number 4 is the one most owners only discover when it's almost too late. Sign 1. The yawn that has nothing to do with sleep. Your dog yawns in the middle of the afternoon, wide awake, fully alert. You laugh it off. Cute, sleepy baby. But dogs don't yawn only because they're tired. Veterinary behaviorists call this a calming signal. It's a small, built-in mechanism dogs use to lower their own stress, and sometimes to quietly ask you to lower yours too. A yawn during a vet visit. A yawn when a stranger leans in too close. A yawn right after you raise your voice. That is not boredom. That is your dog's nervous system quietly trying to hit the brakes. Research on canine stress signals has shown that yawning frequency rises sharply in situations dogs find tense or overwhelming, even when nothing outwardly dramatic is happening. It is one of the smallest sounds in their entire vocabulary, and it might be the first time they are asking you to notice. The next time your dog yawns and there is no bed in sight, look around. Ask what, in that exact moment, might feel like too much for them. Because somewhere in that ordinary afternoon, something quietly tipped from comfortable into overwhelming, and the yawn was the only proof you were ever going to get. Proof most owners will never think twice about. Sign 2. The look that isn't rudeness. Sometimes your dog turns their head away from you and shows you the whites of their eyes. Trainers call it whale eye. It looks almost comedic, like a cartoon side glance. It is not comedic. It is a warning flare. It means, I am uncomfortable and I do not know how else to say it. It shows up when a child hugs too tightly, when a hand reaches for a sore spot, when a room feels crowded and there is nowhere left to retreat. Studies on canine body language have documented whale eye as one of the clearest, most consistent signs of discomfort or mild fear across breeds. Most owners never notice it because it lasts less than 2 seconds. 2 seconds is all your dog gets before they decide you're not going to help. If you catch that look, that is the moment to step in, not to reassure with words, but to change the situation itself. Move the hand, widen the space, end the interaction, because being believed in that instant is what tells your dog you are actually paying attention to them, not just to their body. And a dog who has been believed once will show you that same look again, trusting that this time too someone will finally listen, because trust like that is rebuilt one small moment at a time. Sign 3. The lip lick with nothing to eat. Your dog is sitting calmly, no food, no treat, and their tongue flicks quickly across their lips. It is fast. It is easy to miss. It happens in under a second. This is not hunger. In behavioral research, this rapid lip lick is classified as a stress-related displacement behavior, a small physical release valve for tension the dog cannot otherwise express. It often appears right before a dog is asked to do something they find difficult, right after a scolding, or in the middle of an unfamiliar situation. Your dog is not being fussy. They are managing something internally, alone, without a single word available to explain it. And here is the part that should stop you. Dogs who repeatedly display this signal without any change in their environment often go on to develop chronic, low-grade anxiety, not because the moment itself was so terrible, but because it kept happening and nobody ever asked why. The saddest part is how easy this one is to fix once someone finally notices it is even happening at all, sometimes with nothing more than a little more patience and a little less rushing. If this is the first time you're learning your dog has been saying all of this quietly, hit subscribe right now. Because there are 2 signs left, and they are the ones almost every owner misses completely. Not because they don't love their dog enough, but because nobody ever taught them the language. Sign 4. When your dog suddenly won't leave your side, not the dog who has always followed you, the dog who used to nap across the room and now follows you into every doorway, every hallway, every quiet corner of the house. This shift is not clinginess. It is not neediness. A sudden increase in proximity-seeking behavior is one of the most reliable early indicators that something has changed in a dog's body or environment, and they can feel it before you can see it. Pain that hasn't surfaced yet. A hormonal shift, a fear that has no clear source. Your dog cannot tell you in words that something feels wrong. So instead, they do the only thing that has ever worked. They move closer to the one being who has always kept them safe. This is the sign most owners discover only in hindsight, only after a vet visit finally explains what the shadowing was trying to say all along. You do not need to panic every time your dog sits a little closer, but you do need to notice when closeness itself becomes the message, when a dog who once needed space now cannot bear to lose sight of you for even a moment. That change in distance is a sentence, even if it never makes a sound, and it deserves to be read just as carefully as anything spoken aloud. Sign 5. When the toy stays in the corner and the bowl stays full. A dog who normally spins in circles at the sound of a leash, who normally attacks their bowl like it's the best thing that's ever happened to them, suddenly does neither. No dramatic collapse, no obvious symptom, just less interest, less energy behind the tail wag, less of everything that used to be automatic. Veterinary research consistently points to appetite and play as 2 of the most sensitive early markers of both physical illness and emotional distress in dogs, often changing before any other visible symptom appears. This is the quietest sign of all because it isn't a behavior your dog adds, it is a behavior they take away. And an absence is so much harder to notice than an action. Which is exactly why it is the sign most owners miss, until a checkup forces them to look back and realize it had already been going on for weeks, sitting in plain sight the entire time, waiting quietly for someone to finally look closely enough to see it. Your dog has never had access to your language, no words, no sentences, no way to sit you down and explain what's wrong. So they built another one instead. Out of yawns, out of a 2-second glance, out of a lip lick nobody was watching for, out of a shadow that grew longer, out of a bowl that stayed a little too full. Every single one of those signs was them, trying. You don't need to be a behaviorist to hear it. You just need to be the kind of person who looks twice. Because somewhere in your house right now, your dog might be saying something in the only language they have ever been given. And the only question left is whether you will finally learn to hear it, starting today, starting with whatever small sign you noticed first. Listen.